Hi, I'm a well-dressed Raphael Aaliyah.
And I'm a semi-well-dressed John Jackson. And this, once again, is Ethan Illers.
And this is the Mancave.
Today we have big news to start off. Last night, they revealed who got into the Hall of Fame this year, and I would like to congratulate Mike Piazza and Ken Griffey Jr. for being elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Congratulations. In other baseball news, the Royals re-signed Alex Gordon to a 4-year deal worth $72 million. Gordon's been there for a while. He was a second overall pick for the Royals, so he has a lot of ties there. He helped them win the World Series last year, so the Royals really liked him and re-signed him. So that's pretty big news in free agent land in baseball. There's still a lot of free agents left, but now let's go on to some hockey, Ethan. What do you have to say?
Well, guys, the Florida Panthers have won 10 straight games. Yes, guys, they play hockey down there in South Florida.
Yeah,
they do.
it's surprising.
Florida Panthers have won 10 straight games, and they set their franchise record for most consecutive wins with 8 during their last game of 2015 when they beat the New York Rangers, shutting them out 3-0. But the Florida Panthers, I do unfortunately remember that game. The Florida Panthers are such a well-rounded team right now. They're playing with confidence. Roberto Luongo has been exceptional in goalie. Jonathan Huberdeau has been great. Jaromir Jagr, who's 43, is playing like he's 25. He's not aging at all.
No.
Overall, the Panthers are steamrolling right now, and it looks like they're going to be a tough team to slow down.
It's been incredible to watch, especially considering they're the Florida Panthers.
But now Raphael's got some football. You know, it's football crunch time. The playoffs are starting, so Raphael takes into football.
All right. Okay, so this weekend begins the NFL wildcard playoffs, starting on Saturday and Sunday. We have the first game being played at 4:20 on Saturday. Kansas City Chiefs at the Houston Texans. Let me hear what you guys think about that game.
Kansas City Chiefs against the Houston Texans. Okay, well, the Houston Texans are the number 5 seed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Kansas City Chiefs are the number 6 seed. And the reason why the Kansas City Chiefs are seeded lower than the Houston Texans is because the Houston Texans won a mediocre AFC North division.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Kansas City won 10 straight after starting the year 1-5. And I think Andy Reid is definitely going to be a candidate for Coach of the Year. Losing Jamal Charles and regrouping this offense. Jeremy Maclin's been great. The Chiefs are steamrolling right now. The Texans' defense has struggled. The Texans' offense has struggled. Kansas City Chiefs are on the road in Houston, which is a tough place to play. But overall, the momentum Kansas City has. And just Houston came out of a weak division, too. The record isn't all that great. Kansas City, 10 wins in a row. I think Kansas City prevails on top of Houston.
Okay, John?
Yeah, I go with Kansas City as well. You have Kansas City, they were 1-5, I believe, to start the season out. They won 10 games?
10 games.
They're 11-5, 10 games in a row. It's very impressive what they did. They lost the running back, really amazing. And yeah, the Texans, who although have home field advantage, they won the division. It was a very mediocre division. I go easy Kansas City win.
Dimitri as well, as you remember from our previous show, Dimitri Mikas, he will also be voicing his opinion during these playoff predictions. John, you want to give us
Yeah, Dimitri also says Kansas City, and that goes to no surprise to me, Ethan, and Dimitri. Let's see, Raphael, anything different or the same?
I am going to call it a straight sweep for the Kansas City Chiefs. Granted, we have Brian Hoyer coming back for the Houston Texans in that big win in Week 17. That being said, they're still not going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. 10 straight wins. They're not going to be stopped, at least in this round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Moving on, later on that day, later on Saturday, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who narrowly got that 6th seed after a Jets loss. They'll be playing the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that matchup, that divisional matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals from Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Bengals had an incredible year, both offensively and defensively, winning the AFC North Division. The Pittsburgh Steelers barely got in by defeating the Cleveland Browns and having the New York Jets fall at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. But I think that this is going to be a very, very tight game. You know, Ben Roethlisberger has struggled at times against the Cincinnati secondary. That is an above-average secondary, but he's hungry. He's ready to lead his receivers. D'Angelo Williams is going to be great at running back as well. Santonio Holmes, I think, is going to have a stellar game as well. But the Cincinnati Bengals, I think, are more well-rounded. I'm not sure if Andy Dalton will play, but I'm getting word that he probably will. There's a good chance he will play with his thumb injury. Giovanni Bernard and Jeremy Hill will be utilized at running back, and A.J. Green, no one can stop him, as we've seen before. Marvin Jones and Mohamed Sanu will also be utilized as well when A.J. Green draws Pittsburgh's best corner. But I think Cincinnati will get their first playoff win. I think they knock off the Steelers and get their first playoff win since January 6th, 1991, 25 years ago. John?
Yeah, so I have two scenarios. Like he said, if indeed Andy Dalton plays, I believe Pittsburgh will win. If indeed A.J. McCarron plays, I think Pittsburgh will still win.
Wait. You think if Andy Dalton plays, he loses?
He loses.
Wow.
Or if A.J. McCarron plays, he loses.
I can't wait to hear this.
Yes. Andy Dalton, and this is more psychological, but psychological things do affect players. Andy Dalton has never won a playoff game. This is something that's, it's haunting the Cincinnati Bengals. It's been haunting them for years. A.J. McCarron, if he plays, I think a rookie versus Big Ben, I don't think they're going to pull this one out. I think Pittsburgh wins. It's going to be a close one, I feel. Cincinnati has the better team overall, but quarterback versus quarterback, Big Ben pulls it out.
Dimitri Mikas says?
Dimitri says Cincinnati.
Okay. Well, McCarron, Dalton, that is a big story. I don't care. Big Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown coming in with the momentum. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take that game in Cincinnati. Remember, Marvin Lewis, the head coach of Cincinnati, 0-6 in playoffs. We don't know about the QB situation, and that's not something you want to be going into a playoff game.
Not at all.
You don't want that hanging over your head. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with or without DeAngelo Williams, who may or may not play due to that ankle injury, they take on the Bengals and they beat them. Moving on now to Sunday. Seattle, Minnesota. What do you guys think?
Well, Minnesota won the NFC North, with that last week's win over the Green Bay Packers, the last week of the regular season, and they looked great as well. The defense looked great, the offense looked great. Adrian Peterson was injured, but I think knowing Adrian Peterson, he will give it his best effort to play in this game against the Seattle Seahawks. But the Seattle Seahawks have had some good momentum as well. Russell Wilson's been utilizing his receivers, Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, and even without Marshawn Lynch, the Seattle Seahawks are all steamrolling.
It's
Jimmy Graham going down too. We would think it would have slowed him down, but at the same time it really didn't. But I think Seattle and Minnesota, Seattle is visiting Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. And Minnesota's going to be a tough place to play. But then again, I think the Seattle secondary is just a little bit better than the Minnesota one is. And I think that the Seattle defense may not be as great as Minnesota. I think this game is going to come down to a defensive matchup. Seattle having the better defense. Seattle wins. Close one, but Seattle wins.
So I believe Seattle will win as well. Based on the fact that I'm big on momentum, Seattle has a lot of momentum after starting the season pretty slow. A lot of losses. I do believe this is the worst Seattle team we've seen in 3 years. However, they've also had a lot of playoff experience. They won the Super Bowl. They were in the Super Bowl. Playing the Vikings, who are very good. I think they're such a great team. This is going to be one of the hardest ones to pick. I do, however, pick Seattle over the Vikings, possibly in the closest game of this week's playoffs. Dimitri seconds that opinion with Seattle winning as well.
These guys think it's going to be close. We'll call it a clean sweep for Seattle, but it's not going to be a close one. Seattle is going to take on Minnesota. They're gonna kill them.
Really?
They're going to kill them.
They're going to kill them.
Week 17.
Bold.
36-6 against the Arizona Cardinals. Undoubtedly one of the best teams
Possibly
in the NFC.
the best, in my opinion.
One of the best teams in the NFC. Marshawn Lynch possibly making his return. They're going to blow Minnesota out of the water. I don't care. Adrian Peterson, it's supposed to be sub-zero temperatures over there. It's going to be hard to make a tackle. I don't see them winning. And I see Seattle really crushing them.
Okay, wow.
Green Bay and Washington Redskins. That's the second game on Sunday. What do you guys think about that game?
Well, Green Bay is known to having a killer offense, but that offense was not existent these past couple weeks. Aaron Rodgers made some grave mistakes, throwing some interceptions, fumbling the ball. Eddie Lacy's had trouble running the ball. Jordy Nelson going down before the season starts, tearing his ACL, which kind of limited Randall Cobb's role because Randall Cobb would draw the best corner from the other team's secondary.
Yeah.
But if Jordy Nelson was in it, it's a totally different story. So Randall Cobb will be open more times. Devontae Adams has struggled. James Jones has been fairly decent, but at the same time has struggled as well.
Yeah, recently especially.
Exactly, and the Packers' defense has been pretty good as of late. Clay Matthews leads that defense, leads that defensive charge of linebackers who are very good at stopping the run. But at the same time, the Washington Redskins are coming in with so much momentum. Kirk Cousins is going to get a taste of postseason football, who I think it's going to be a huge experience for Kirk Cousins. I think he's ready. He's hungry for this moment. The Washington Redskins have momentum, and their defense has stepped up in these past couple of games. I understand they did win the NFC East, which was a weak division this year too, but at the same time too, the Washington Redskins, I think, have the momentum. And I'm not sure if you can label this an upset or not, but Washington defeats Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
John, for you.
I also go with Washington, and I feel the seasons of Washington compared to Green Bay, you have Green Bay up and down. They're going crazy. You don't know what's going on in Green Bay anymore. You know, they win. They look one of the most dominant teams at the beginning of the year. And then they start losing some, they start winning some. Really, anything could happen. Inconsistency. While you have Washington, starts out so slow, and then the momentum, they're flying through the sky right now. Kirk Cousins, he's on fire. He was a great late pickup in fantasy football. Really just, that guy has picked up his game. Washington has played so well recently. And if you said this a few weeks ago, I think most people would pick Green Bay. But right now, Washington.
100%.
Easy. Dimitri, however, disagrees. He thinks Green Bay will pull this one out.
Now, since he's not here to defend himself, we could assume that why he's picking Green Bay, obviously. We have Aaron Rodgers playing. You can't ever count out Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
This Sunday, I'm counting out Aaron Rodgers. This offensive line has been pitiful. Pitiful. Aaron Rodgers has gotten sacked so many times. 8 times in Week 17. 8 times in Week 17. How is he supposed to throw a ball when he doesn't have Jordy Nelson getting open, getting his other receivers open, and he has no time to throw the ball? It's not going to happen. This Washington defense has been very, very good recently. And I think Reed, this tight end for Washington, him along with on fire Kirk Cousins, I agree with you there.
On fire.
They're going to take Green Bay to town.
Don't forget the healthy Deshaun Jackson, too.
And the healthy Deshaun Jackson.
It's gonna make
in Washington, they win this game. Aaron Rodgers is going to need more than a Hail Mary pass to win it. It's going to be a tough one. Washington wins. And we're also going to have standings for our predictions. We're going to see how we do every week. See who comes out on the top come Super Bowl 50. That's it for today. I'm Rafael Aaliyah.
And I'm John Jackson.
And I'm Ethan Millers, and this has been the Man Cave.